I think what's especially unique to this industry, which I love, is you can't just be completely digital and dismiss all the other omnichannel approaches, right?
Yeah, and I would say don't forget things that seem pretty ABC level,
Yes.
like Google My Business is super important, and reviews are extremely important to your business.
I know people have hopped in the car, they drove 45 minutes to come see our store just because they heard me on the radio. They said they were excited about it and they wanted to know more, so I know it's working.
You got your customers, you got your culture, that's your internal, your people, and then you have your community. You got to be involved in that. Then overall, it needs to be consistent. If you are dabbling in those 4 C's and making sure every aspect is touched, you're doing marketing.
Welcome to the Grit Blueprint Podcast. I'm your host, Stephanie Couch. This is the spot where leaders talk about the stories, strategies, and systems that win in the building industry. We unpack how leaders and brands build their reputations and become unmistakable.
I am Stephanie Couch. I'm the founder of Grit Blueprint, and we help businesses in the building and hardware industry get visible, seen, so that they can become the unmistakable first choice in their market. I actually grew up in a family lumberyard, and now I am working with Do It Best and True Value as a brand partner, so that's why I'm here today. And I'm really excited because I have 3 amazing women on stage with me. They all work with people in our industry in different ways, but we're gonna walk through, and hopefully you're gonna leave today with at least one thing that you can use tomorrow in your business to make your business better with marketing. So I wanna start with Sharona. She is actually the owner of Woodshed Lumber and Hardware, 6 locations across Missouri, and she runs the marketing department and everything else around the place. And as we all know with a small business, that happens a lot. And she's figured out some really great things, and she's using marketing in a way that I think is innovative and surprising. Next is Ashley Guest, who happens to be my sort of neighbor. We're both from Georgia. She's the marketing manager at Harbin Lumber Company. They are actually a 4th generation business, and they have 4 lumber yards, a reload center, a truss plant, and a door shop, and about 300 employees. And we have been on site together, and she has really done some cool stuff, especially with getting people to love their logo and brand and show it throughout their community. So we're going to talk about that today. And then Kerry Hasselbach is the director of marketing at Do It Best. She brings over 20 years of experience with brand building in fashion, retail, and home. And she is a former VP at Vera Bradley and did live in New York City, but now resides in the beautiful Fort Wayne, Indiana. She's been working with thousands of stores across the U.S. with Do It Best, so I'm going to be glad to hear her perspective of how Do It Best can hopefully help you grow your business with marketing. So I'm going to dive right in. I want to start with just a warm-up question. I'm going to give you girls a softball. And I want you to tell me one thing about your day-to-day and in your life and your work that you do that you love, that fires you up, that has nothing to do with marketing. So I'll let you start, Sharona.
Well, it's all about the people. And it doesn't matter if they've got a great attitude or a crummy attitude, because we get them all. But it's trying to figure out how to flip the switch and take a bad situation and then turn it into something positive. I think my family, we're up for challenges. And so it's a great aspect.
And you do have your family involved in the business, which I'm sure is fun. Your husband and daughter are actually here. Shout out to Cecil and Cicely. And they are a part of the business as well, so I'm sure it's fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We go all the way down. So we have 4 children, and my husband's a builder, so my son is graduating working with him. My daughter gets out of school and comes and works at the store, and the little ones help with commercials.
That's amazing. Great. What about you, Ashley?
I have to say the same thing, the people. I grew up being called the social butterfly. And so naturally, I do love talking to people and building those relationships. So you just put that all together and count me in.
That's awesome. What about you, Kerry?
So they both stole my initial answer. So to elaborate on that, I think it's collaborating with people and putting ideas together and making a big idea even bigger and better. Do It Best is very in office, and that actually is a huge benefit because you could walk down the hall, get an idea, noodle on it, text Sharona, be like, you want to try this? Let's see if we can make it work. And so the people.
Yeah, it's a great industry, and it is always going to be a hands-on relationship business, no matter how much technology changes things. Well, Sharona, when you and I were talking about marketing and what you're doing in your store, You have actually found a way that I wouldn't have really thought of, because a lot of times old school stuff, we like to change to something new and fancy, but you're doing something with your community, with radio, that is super cool. Tell me about how you're using radio and what you're doing, because you're not just doing commercials like somebody might think. You're actually live on the radio. Is it the Sharona show? What are we calling this thing?
Yeah. So Rick from 97.7, give him a shout out. He calls me his BFF. And it's pretty fun because on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I get a call. They might start at 8:15 in the morning, 8:45, 9 o'clock. So it's really timed. But they give me a call and we just talk about whatever's going on. And there was a fire in Cameron, Missouri. So I talked about the fire and how our manager, took care of the community during that time. Or if my daughter got a new puppy for Christmas. I'm just doing whatever because they're in that car and I've listened to other people's do this. And I think to myself, is that what I want them to hear from me? I want them to learn who I am, who my team is, who my family is, because that's who they're shopping. And so I really try to relate with them on just whatever's going, and time flies. So it's a lot of fun. And sometimes we have to probably wrap it up and they remind me, tell us about your 6 locations. And I know that I went on a little long, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
And you actually are doing this with local in a few different markets, right?
Yes, we hit a lot. The areas are, so one's a rock station, one's a country station, one's an older rock. And so we're hitting different demographics and across our area. So I wanted to make sure we were serving the people that are hearing us in the car, can obviously Google us, or if they don't already know who we are, and stop by and shop with us.
So if you'd like to get DJ tips, she's your girl. She is spinning all the hottest tracks in all the genres, it sounds like. So you're mixing it up. I love it. And, it's really cool to be able to share your story. I think a lot of times in marketing, we try to be perfect and we try to say, I don't know what to say, or I'm not sure what story to tell, or will people even care about this? But I think people like to connect with other humans and hear stories about what people are doing in their everyday life. It doesn't have to be something that's super produced. And I like that you're just throwing out there what's happening. And, the word news actually is, about being noteworthy. It's news, entertainment, weather, sports. Doesn't have to be something that's a huge topic. It's just be what's happening in your store and your community. So I love that you're sharing that.
Thank you. I was hooking up a computer and I was down on the ground and I was running Ethernet cords to get everything set up. And one of the employees said, "Hey, Sharona, can you pass me this?" And the customer said, "You're Sharona? Like the Sharona I just heard on the radio?" And I was like, that's amazing. So I know people have hopped in the car. They drove 45 minutes to come see our store just because they heard me on the radio. They said they were excited about it and they wanted to know more. So I know it's working. It was pretty awesome.
And you're actually playing the same thing on the radio that you play it again in your store. So you get that continual, brand loyalty. They're hearing your voice in the store. They're hearing it on the radio. What gave you that idea to use it cross-functionally?
Well, that's the great thing about Do It Best Radio. And I think my marketing team said, if you've got commercials, just send them our way and we'll load them. And so now you do have to do your homework. So you'll see me if you drive by, I'm in the car and I'm doing commercials so that I don't have this background. But it's nice to tie in. So that way what you're hearing on the radio, you're hearing in our stores and you're connecting the dots. And so I think it's working.
The Do It Best Radio jingle is going to be in my head the rest of the month. Do It Best Radio. That's all at night when I'm trying to go to sleep. I'm hearing it because I've been hearing it all day. So it does get in your brain and you hear it for sure. Kerry, tell me a little bit, because you've seen a lot of members try so many different things across marketing. When you hear her story, what patterns do you see that other members are maybe doing similar stuff or things like that are working for them? What are you hearing and seeing in the market?
Yeah, so how Sharona described it as, does anyone want to hear this? Is this going to work? Does anyone care what I have to say? When you get that feeling, it can't hurt to try it, right? So we love to try to test and learn from things. And I think that's a great example. Some other member stories that I think are really fun is we have a member that is very innovative at the store level, and they record a lot of content. They have a YouTube channel now. And one day it could be puns about different pieces of hardware, or one time it's what Halloween costume can we all make out of stuff around the store. And that builds a following and people get interested and try to say, what are they going to do next? It's not scripted. It's not pretty, like Stephanie said, but that's feeling real. And anything that you do that's authentic to you and to your brand, if you feel it in your stomach, it's because you haven't done it before and you're not comfortable. So I really recommend trying it. Another example that I can think of that I thought was really innovative and it worked really well was another member of ours on the East Coast did a campaign through their 6 stores. Bring in any gift card that you haven't used and we'll give you store credit. And then they put out a poll on their social medias and said, how many cards do you think we got from big box retailers, from competitors? And the answer was 0. So then they kept leaking, oh, we got a Tiffany and Company gift card. Isn't that funny? We got this. So do something fun, do something innovative. You'll learn quickly if it doesn't work, if it doesn't resonate, but you just have to try it.
That's amazing. Ashley, I want to ask you about a program that I saw in person when I was at your location. So we actually did a millwork tour of your facility in Georgia in October with Do It Best. And I went in the best closet I've ever seen at a lumberyard, filled with beautifully organized swag, hats, shirts, all the things. And you actually built a pretty cool program for your employees with apparel. So tell me a little bit about what you've done there and what inspired that and how's it working?
Well, I want to see our logo everywhere. If you can put a logo on it, let's do it. So it actually has started, it's been a process. It's been a growth uphill process, but what started as we just had some t-shirts, you're a new hire, you got a hoodie, something like that. Well, let's face it, what works for me might not work for the next person. And my point is I want everyone to feel confident and to want to wear it, not because you have to, but because you choose to wear it. So I like to see a lot of options and variety. So we created a website with a local vendor. We have a great partnership with them. And there's a little bit of everything on there, from polos for men, women, dog bandanas, shirts for your babies.
Dog bandanas, which I have one of for, she brought me one for my golden retriever, Heidi Pearl. She's going to be repping this color. They are a local lumberyard, so someone actually could see us walking down the street in Clayton, Georgia, and then call Harbin and order something from you. Hopefully Heidi will get a commission check if she does that for you.
Well, that's good marketing. That's easy marketing. You say, where do you get that? I want one. Sure, I'll give you a hat. You wear our logo.
Yeah, and I know that you told me a story about one of your employees who has a wife that's a principal, and she actually saw some of her local students wearing some of your swag.
Yeah, this actually has happened quite often. There was, like she said, she was a principal. There was a student walking by with a hoodie on. She said, hey, my husband works there. He goes, oh, well, my brother works there. And they made that connection and had no clue. I've personally seen someone at the grocery store. I didn't know them at all, but I know that logo. So that was amazing just to see the logo out in the wild and see it on the Little League field with the kids wearing their hats and, you know, at the grocery store. Anytime that you can put your logo out there and just have someone feel confident and wear it and want to wear it, and not because they have to, that's good marketing to me.
And all of your employees actually get a stipend each year so they can get some swag of their choice. So if they want a hat or a shirt, right? So tell me about that.
So our store, it is open year round. So let's say they want to go in any time of the year and buy a hat, they can. But we choose, instead of saying you have a dress code or, you know, this is your uniform, what we do is we open up a credit 2 times a year of a $100 employee apparel credit. And they'll go on there for their spring, summer collection and then their winter, fall collection. It's like an allowance. Say, hey, go on there and buy what you want to wear. And then we'll get it all loaded in. It's a lot at one time of bulk ordering, but it works out for us, and it gives them options to refresh their wardrobe because maybe they need something new. We like something new.
Yeah, and they have, like we said, something for everyone. Carrie, I very much love what's in front of us, so I want to talk a little bit about this. There is a company here, Eiserer, who has graciously provided the ladies up here with these new, so this is a new item that just hit the floor. I'm going to be Vanna White today, so here we are. This is a 40-ounce tumbler. It's their everyday tumbler. It has a handle, so it fits in any cup holder. And so this is just a good example of, like, your employees love stuff like this. Your customers love stuff like this. personalized. And Kerry, tell me a little bit about the apparel program. So Smart Source is here. They're your partner at Do It Best. So tell us about how this works.
That's right. So Smart Source is our partner. For anyone that's not aware, we have a merch booth right near the brand hub where Smart Source is here. The gentleman in the blue shirt raising his hand, Doug Church, he's our account manager. And on the topic of, oh, you have a local partner. So what you can do through Do It Best Group is you can actually coordinate with Smart Source either at this market or outside of the market and order logoed apparel. So you'll see some of the examples here at the show. We'll have Do It Best or True Value on them, but you can work with that team to do any customization for your stores. So a lot of members will do t-shirts for their staff. They'll do different options, kind of what Ashley talked about. And it's outside of apparel. They actually do drinkware as well. They have other different merch, some of those kind of giveaway items that you might have at point of sale, impulse items. So we have a great partnership with them, and they have pretty fast turnaround. I think you're stocking things domestically. So that's a great option for someone who doesn't want to go out and have to find a partner directly.
Yeah, that's a great option because I think it is hard to try to think about making your own store and having to source out of these items and have like giant quantities of crazy stuff. So it's a good option. Sharona, I want to pop back to you. How many of you in this audience are doing something on social media, on your store social media once a month or more? Anybody? All right, there we go. So Sharona, you've actually gotten your staff involved, your kids are involved, y'all are making videos. So tell me a little about what you're doing and maybe how this took you out of your comfort zone. Because when I start to say putting yourself on video, it strikes fear into the hearts of most people, right? So talk about it a little bit.
It certainly did. And I remember the saying of, I can't ask you to do something I'm not willing to do. So I had to suck it up. And I had to turn the camera. And so I did some live videos and just showing everybody. And it's funny because I was out of breath. I mean, I was literally, so every time I went to one of the stores, I thought, all right, I'll start in the parking lot. I'll turn the camera on. And I walked everybody through our store. And I was uneasy about it. But then people started seeing the videos and they said, well, I didn't know you had added clothing. I had no idea. This one woman said, when I come to the hardware store, I stay in the vehicle because what do I have to look at? And she said, now this time, I said, I'm going with you to the woodshed. And the husband was like, what? And she's like, yeah, they have clothes. Not only do we have clothes, but we have shoes and we have baby clothes. So we have something for everybody. And it made a difference. But it gave the team a little bit of a, well, she can do it, I can do it. Mm-hmm. And so they've been making TikToks and it's been awesome because they got everybody from the quiet guy at the contractor desk to flex his muscles. They've been doing TikToks and I'm to the point where I'm constantly looking at my phone and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting patiently. I'm ready to see another video. What have you come up with? And then while I was here, one of the girls was laying on the counter. It was hilarious. But I have to trust them because I'm not comfortable doing all of those TikToks. But it's the trend. I can get you in the car. While you're driving down the road, you'll see a billboard. I can send you something in the mail. I'm going all these avenues, but that's the one thing that I'm not really related, and I don't know how to make a video, but I've reached out to the team. They're all getting involved. It's been a lot of fun, and I'm just so glad I broke the ice for myself to just start so that they jumped on board.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about, it doesn't have to be perfect, number one. So that's actually, I think, better if the videos aren't super highly produced. Doesn't need to look like the next Avatar movie to put it on your social media. And then secondarily, just show your store and what people are doing in your store. You actually went live, so you can go live in your store and walk around with just your cell phone. And then that video can be used later after it's not live. It will still be on your channels and people will watch it a lot more after the fact. So that's something that I think is really great.
It became where everybody decided to share it and then they kept sharing it and kept sharing it.
Did you go viral?
Oh my gosh. But it's nice to have a team that is proud of you and wants to share your story because you're sharing their story. So it was pretty awesome.
This episode of the Grit Blueprint podcast was sponsored by Do It Best Group. Do It Best Group is the largest co-op in the world, and they help independent hardware and lumber yards all over North America win. Do It Best offers services, products, and people that can help you win long term. They are the champion of independence.
Ashley, you do a lot on social media as well. I see your socials. So talk a little bit about what you guys are doing.
We primarily focus on our Instagram and Facebook, and recently we started implementing more on our Reels. I know that, like she said, it can be scary, it's intimidating, and sometimes you don't want to be in front of the camera. I'm like, okay, next time you're doing it. But it's just pushing outside of that comfort zone, and I like to share our employee spotlights, star employees, anything in the community, and drone shots especially, just something to the click, what's going to attract someone's attention. The biggest thing.
Kerry, how does Do It Best actually have programs that help members? You guys have several marketing programs, including social media, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So we have a digital marketing program that we hard launched last fall market called Do It Best Digital Marketing. And that's a centralized stop shop. I should pick some other term. You know what I'm saying. Tool that has an app, or you can do it on your desktop. So how that's really easy, if you're anything like Sharona and you're spinning 75 plates, you don't have quiet time to go and plan marketing, right? So you have it at the touch of a finger. We put creative content in there for you. There's an AI integration feature that allows your logo to be superimposed over the ad. So really easy. And then it also shows you live time data to say, okay, I posted these 6 things. These 3 that have the little trophies in order are the ones that are getting the most attention, the most engagement, so that you can put your media spend through the tool right directly toward that. So that's a really great option. This month on the True Value side, we launched Local Digital Booster. So we have another program that's quite similar to that tool on the Do It Best side. However, we do it as a tiered pricing model and do a recommend paid media spend based on if you're rural, what the level of your competition is in that area. And it's really a very turnkey option for people as well, because like you, Sharona, a lot of people don't have a great level of comfort too. And the World Wide Web is just overwhelming, right? So what we can do is, understand the nuance of your business, what your goals are. If it's to drive e-commerce, if it's to do brand and awareness campaigns, we can kind of narrow that and say, here's the creative that we recommend you use. Here's the in-store content that we recommend you layer in. And if you need help, we have a team on the Do It Best side called Managed Marketing that can execute on that for you as well.
I want to get off of the subject of digital because we talked a lot about online and what's happening there. I think it's really still important to do things face to face. Our building industry and hardware industry are very much relationship driven. Ashley, talk to me a little bit about some of the events that you're doing, because I know you do a lot of events. And you guys, this person not only plans the events, runs the events, but also drives the truck with the trailer and sets up and backs the trailer in. So kudos on that. But tell me a little bit about what you're doing and how that's working in your community.
Well, I love a good event. And by the way, my husband taught me how to back the trailer in, so it did take practice. So shout out to him. But I love to put a face with a name. Sometimes just staying behind the phone and you could talk to someone over and over, but until they're able to make that connection, it's real, right? So I love to do things with our HBA or local HBA, whether it's a golf tournament. I mean, everyone loves golf, but I'll get to sit out there and with a tent, and I'm going to pass out some swag, and then I do a little contest like best shot, worst shot. Everyone's a winner. Anyway, just doing something different, just to add a little extra, and then internally we do something for our customers where they can come in and do a trust tour of our locations, visit our main office, and then we'll have lunch with them and our whole team, and then send them to a local hunting preservation, and they can go hunt. Just to do something outside of the office, out of the normal, but to create that memory. It's not just business, it's personal. So just doing the little extra touches, like balloons as well.
Yeah, so you have been affectionately referred to as the balloon lady. Tell me about that.
It was a joke starting out, because if we can have a balloon arch, or if we could put some balloons there, I was going to do it, because you got to do a little extra and make people feel special. And then it turned into, you got the balloons here today, so it was disappointing when I stopped. So yeah, I got the nickname Balloon Lady real quick.
Well, marketing there's so many things you can do in your business. There's so many different options. How do you know what to do and when to do it if you only have limited time and limited money, and how do you deal with that? Sharona?
Well, take advantage of Facebook, Instagram, the things that don't cost money. And my husband, he will tell me, I haven't seen anything posted in a while. And so I have to get on it and, make sure. So it doesn't matter if it's and I'm one of those that I want it now. If I think about it, I need to get it posted now. And so I kind of need that quick win, I guess. But take advantage of every aspect that you can. And but the free stuff is great.
What about you, Ashley? How do you choose what to do? Because there's so many things. You're a marketing manager running 4 different, well, really more than 4 locations. You got a lot of people, a lot of customers. How do you choose how to spend your time and money?
The best thing that I have learned is I have 4 buckets essentially. Well, 3, and then it's the C's. I call them the 4 C's. You got your customers, you got your culture, that's your internal, your people, and then you have your community. You got to be involved in that. Then overall, it needs to be consistent. So it's easy, 4 C's. If you are dabbling in those 4 C's and making sure every aspect is touched, you're doing marketing, you're doing it. Now, some seasons it's going to be heavier in one bucket than it is the other, that's okay. But don't leave a bucket empty because you're going to fill it, right? That's why I added recently this consistency factors, because you've got to continue to put something into those buckets.
Yeah, and how do you sort out, what is consistent? I would say, Kerry, when you talk to members and they ask you a question about how many times a month should we be posting, or how much should we be doing this or that, how do you sort through that, and what do you tell people?
Sure. I would tie it back to what the ultimate goal is as well. If it's brand and awareness, that might be a little bit different than how we would approach if we want to increase e-commerce specifically. But I would say when you kind of were saying you could do anything, but you shouldn't, right? Like, what are you focusing on? What are the 3 things you'd put on a Post-it note about what's your mission? Give your team a little card, recenter. There's so much that can distract us, right? And then just stay authentic and stay true to that, even when it feels scary. And give yourself time and give yourself grace to kind of read on that and build that out with your team and with your community.
Yeah, and a few things I would add is just tell your story and show what you're doing. I've said that a few times. I think that's the thing people want to see, is the behind the scenes boring stuff that we don't even think is worth putting online. That's the thing people want to see the most. And then secondarily, I would say if everything I'm seeing in the market right now with as far as paid advertising, so Facebook ads, Google ads, Instagram, YouTube ads, if you're thinking about how people are searching now, they're searching in a way that now AI is coming into the search categories, but it's still true that whatever works organically, so the thing that you post that gets the most interest without any money put behind it, those are the things you want to then put money to with your ad spend. So if you have one particular Facebook post that does really well organically, or one live that gets more visibility, then go and put some money behind that, even if it's $5 to $20, and just see if you can get some more views on it. That's something that works really well. If it doesn't get much attention without money, it's going to be a waste of spend likely when you put money behind it on your paid. So all of the research is showing that. Kerry, I want to ask you, you've been building brands for 20 years across different industries. What do you wish that more independent retailers understood that you think they're overlooking, or maybe they get wrong?
I would tie it back to what you were just saying about optimizing what's working. And it's going to be different for everyone. And then make sure that you're keeping track of it and not just letting it be static or stagnant. Everything's changing. The world's always changing, right? So how do you keep expanding on that, staying authentic, building that out? And across all the different retail industries, I think what's especially unique to this industry, which I love, is you can't just be completely digital and dismiss all the other omnichannel approaches, right? Print is still really important. The print that's the best option for you will be dependent on several different factors and the frequency of that, right? What I see trending here is a lot of services. So when that's something that you could either promote on a paid social, or you could do it organically, so unpaid, and that's driving a lot of traffic and frequency. So
yeah, and I would say don't forget things that seem pretty ABC level.
Yes.
Like Google My Business is super important, and reviews are extremely important to your business. And really talking about word of mouth type business opportunities like a coupon, something like that, mailers still work, especially if it's a coupon. That's something that you can track very easily as well. And there's not a huge amount of money that has to go into making those happen. So it's just, don't forget the easy blocking and tackling that work. TikTok videos are great, but you also want to do that easy stuff like, could you give me a review on Google? Scan this QR code. So thinking about that. All right, I want to ask each one of you last closing question. If someone could only take one thing, a lot of people in here said they're not posting on social more than once a month, or maybe they're taking one thing. If they could only do one thing on Monday differently, what would you say is the best thing to do?
I'd say on Monday, the first thing you need to do is go ask Google if they know where your store is. Mine found a store 10 years ago that I bought and still is live, and I'm trying to claim them, and it hasn't been easy. But when you just said that Google review, nobody tells your story better than you do. So I gave myself a Google review, and I introduced myself as the owner, and I told them my story. And I thought if anybody else out there was going to give me a bad review, at least there's something out there that is wholesome and true. And so they're going to see mine as well. So I would put yourself in the customer's perspective and see if you can find yourself. And if you can't, that's where you got to start first.
I love that. What about you, Ashley?
Like they've said before, marketing is not a one-size-fits-all. So really go and look at your company and what your goal is. Are you a family company? Are you trying to drive on social media? Whatever that is. And then don't be scared to push outside of the box because it's scary. My favorite quote is, if you are unwilling to learn, no one can help you. But if you're determined to learn, then you're unstoppable. So just be unstoppable and continue to push that boundary.
That's great. Kerry?
So I only saw 1 or 2 people raise their hand about posting on socials. It's overwhelming. It takes a lot of time. The thing I would ask you to take away from this, whether you do it at the market or do it when you get back home to your store, is reach out to our marketing team. Let us help you. A lot of the services that we provide are included in your co-op fee or brand fee. And there's a lot of tools that we provide that have very minimal cost that is beating what you could do at retail. So let us help you. It's part of the benefit of being in this amazing cooperative. All we do all day long is work with hardware stores, home centers, and lumber yards, help them grow their business. So let us help you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for joining me today. And thank you for coming to this session. I want to just open up if anyone has questions about anything really we've talked about around marketing or what some of these ladies are doing in their stores. We've got a mic here, right here.
I have a question for each of the stores. You turned your crew loose with TikTok and they're making videos. What have you done to ensure it doesn't go off the rails?
That's great. Luckily, they just got started. But it was funny because one of them, well, actually a couple of them, they usually post, they usually create them and then they share them with me so then I can post. So I send them over to the team I manage marketing to help me get it posted. But one of the quick things that I noticed is they were spelling woodshed wrong. And they were doing it as one word. And so I quickly sent them a text and I said, hey, I love what you're doing. I don't want to shut you down. I don't want to micromanage you, but we got to send out the right message. So you got to spell correctly and you got to get our name right. It's on your uniform. But, and they were like, oh, I'm so sorry. But they knew how to take it. They knew how to take it down and fix it. But I think they're just, yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely being very trustworthy, So, but there's only a couple of them, so I have free will.
Thank you. And then when you put a tire out there and you have a store and so forth, what's free? Are you doing it just at cost? Are you trying to make any money off? How do you price these things?
So we actually, with the vendor, they give us their price and then we cover it for our employees. Again, it's $100 twice a year for them. And if it goes over, then the employee will use their card and purchase over. But we make no money off of it whatsoever.
So it's just at cost
It's
from
at
the
cost
vendor?
From the vendor.
Okay.
Okay, and that's just for store people. It's not for.
We give it to the customers. There's no charge there. We'll do like customer incentives with them.
Can you give an example?
Sure, I have something, a new customer box is something, it's an experience. And so when they They sign on with us and they're new. We'll have an open, welcome to Harbin. We're happy to have you with our team. And I'll have swag in there. And let's say one of our salesmen goes to the website, goes to a job site, and they say, I like that hat. I got you. I'm normally getting a call, say, hey, I need a box of hats. Okay. And we'll look at the budget and make it part of our marketing budget.
Thank you.
One thing I will say is they have a pretty substantial marketing budget for these events and all. I mean, they spend a good amount of money on marketing. You know, most marketing companies or companies that do marketing in the world, not just in our industry, say 1 to 5%. I feel like in our industry, most people spend like 0.001%. But they're spending money on this. I mean, they're giving away hats that cost $20 a piece or $12 a piece or whatever they are. But like you said, every time that someone sees that hat and they're wearing it, and I mean, I see people, these Richardson 112 hats that are right here, I've never met a contractor that will not fight somebody for one of those things. And I mean, I'm serious about that. We used to have them at my old job, and I mean, they're like gold. So people appreciate giving, it's worth more than the $12 to $15 it costs, I think, because people do love them and they wear them. It is a walking billboard on everyone's head. So any other questions? You got something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have my husband on his construction crew. He had this guy that worked for us years ago, and he had one of our original woodshed hats, and he had taken a picture with it, and you couldn't even see the logo anymore. I mean, he must have slept in this thing. And so the first thing we did was we got to get him a new hat. And then he went out, and so we had a before and he did an after post. And I think that just resonated with so many people, and it felt good to us. And we do enjoy when we're going out, you know, around, and we'll be in a different town now since we're in different locations. And when we see people wearing our woodshed hats, it just feels good. And that's probably I need to increase my budget because that
I'm
is
gonna
the
write
best
that down.
advertisement.
I'm writing that down.
That's the best advertisement, is to see your name out there because somebody else is telling your story.
Yeah. Great. Anyone else?
Just to add to that, we typically recommend 1.5% to 2% for most businesses in this industry.
Yeah. Look at your budget and see what your marketing spend is. And if it's not somewhere in that range, maybe just pump it up a little bit. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you, ladies. Great job.
Thank you for listening to the Grit Blueprint podcast. If this episode helped you think a little differently about how to show up, share it with someone in your building world who needs it. If you're ready to turn visibility into growth, then head to gritblueprint.com to learn more and book a call to talk to us about your growth strategy. Until next time, stay unmistakable.